Hello and welcome back to another University Deep Dive. Today we're joined by student James Fisher, and we're here to talk about studying real estate at the graduate level at the University of Denver. So, to get us started, I'll turn it over to Spencer.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. And James, appreciate you joining. I'm excited to talk about the University of Denver. I'm located here along the Front Range in Colorado as well. Know several University of Denver or DU graduates. Phenomenal real estate program. So excited to talk to you and kind of feature what's happening there. Let me start by asking kind of the starting question that we always ask, which is, what does it mean to study real estate as a graduate student at the University of Denver?
I real estate is one of those fields that on a long enough timetable, almost anybody can stumble through and become successful. Like if you look at how did most millionaires make their money, it's mostly real estate because all things considered, it's easy. But even Arnold Schwarzenegger made his first million buying apartments, which is a fun fact. Not to say he stumbled through, but no offense, Arnie. But that wasn't what I wanted to do when I pivoted into real estate because I wanted more freedom. I wasn't sure I wanted to be chained to a desk forever. I wanted to make sure that I really was at another level. Understood the macroeconomic factors, the societal factors, the actual finances, not just I put $100 in, I get $10 a year. Like I'm a real estate investor. Like I just wanted to
Right.
take it to the next level, and that was it for me.
Well, that's a really interesting point. Not to get off topic from the University of Denver, but um, everyone has to level up their game in real estate today compared to 30 years ago. It used to be just
Yeah.
like you said, 30 years ago, you didn't need any education. You could quickly stumble into this industry, and if you timed things right, do
Right.
quite well. Now, most or all of us have some formal education in the space. We understand the supply demand dynamics. We understand the capital markets and what's driving it. And if you don't have that, in periods like we're going through right now in 2022,
Yeah.
you're going to be left swimming without your shorts on,
Yeah.
to paraphrase Warren Buffett. And so what I'm hearing from you is University of Denver really is preparing you for that. So you are studying or you are pursuing, and I'll hopefully I get the degree right, a Master of Science in Real Estate and the Built Environment from the University of
Correct.
Denver.
Yes.
Uh, Talk us through the program itself. How many credits are required? Is it a full time or part time? What sort of classes are you taking? Help us understand the structure of the master's program.
So the master's program, it's 48 credits. It's roughly divided into four sort of pillar subject areas, which are property development, real estate, construction management, and integrated project delivery. My personal look at it is that it's really there's a real estate side and then there's a construction management side. My interest being investment and finance, I've focused almost entirely on investment finance and asset management. Graduate students are free to, so it's 12 courses that you're going to take as a minimum to graduate. You can take more on a quarter system. So some students finish it in, just under a year if they're really insane and have that kind of time in their lives. A lot of other students are already professionals in the industry and they're only taking one class per quarter, that kind of thing. And you have complete flexibility to pick which classes you want to take. There's no mandatory classes to graduate. There are a couple prerequisites. You need this for that kind of thing. Um, and there are certain classes, like if you tell your teachers, "Hey, I want to get my CCIM, or I want to get LEED certified, or I want to get my real estate license." Like there are courses they can advise you to take that will satisfy some of the requirements for those certifications or licenses. But it's very flexible. It's very up to the student as to what they want to pursue. You can be as broad or as specific as you want.
That's unique, by the way. It's kind of
It's
a choose your
amazing.
own adventure sort of graduate study. You likely know what path you want to pursue, and you're going to take the courses that will best prepare you for that path. So that's very interesting. Is there a course or two that you look at and you go, that was a great course? And in answering that question, help us understand the type of professors that are teaching the courses, and just the general structure of a typical course at the University of Denver.
Yeah, I mean, every course that I've taken has been just really eye-opening and amazing. For me, the most kind of world-changing experiences have definitely been Dr. Engelstadt's finance classes, which take you from, the first class, which is just what's a discounted cash flow, like what's time value of money, that kind of basic stuff, to the second class, which is really building detailed spreadsheet models, with all sorts of different things you can build in so that you can look at any property and say, okay, like we own this property, what's it going to be worth then if these things happen, and what if that happens? You can do scenario modeling, all that great stuff. And then the third course in the series, after he's drilled into your head that like the numbers have to be exact down to decimal places, is, hey, welcome to the real world. The numbers are never right. Like, here's a case study, and you go through all these case studies and have to figure out, okay, this is a lot of gray area. Like, what's probably going to happen here? What would you recommend to your principal? Like, is this good? Is this bad? Why? What's beyond the numbers? And that series of courses has been incredible.
Great. What about extracurriculars? Clubs, speaking events, career fairs. Talk to us about the sort of extracurricular opportunities that exist for real estate students.
So there are several extracurriculars. There is a real estate and construction management club, which is a student-run club that organizes events, speed networking, just tries to get students and alumni and business professionals in the area and outside the area together. There's the ER meetings, which is the Enterprise Real Estate Roundtable. Those are DU's sort of attempts to get together current students, alumni, and business leaders to talk about topics in the industry. Um, there's, as far as like competitions and stuff, you can actually do the NIOP competition as a quarter long course.
Yeah.
So you can get credit and participate in the competition. And there are several other things that they encourage students to participate in, like the Colvin case study or the Sherman Miller real estate competition, or two that I can think of recently.
Yeah, and you mentioned alumni. Help us understand what sort of support do you feel from alumni? Any particular activities, and how do you interact and engage with alumni?
Yeah. Well, I've been to an ER meeting. I'm very thankful to have been invited to a meeting of the Burn Society, which is normally an invite only society of former students who have become very successful in their field. An alumni member that I was introduced to got me to be able to come along to that. And, DU is not a massive school. It's not like, there's somebody from DU at every business in the world, but the network is really, really great. Like, there's people who are at the top of their career. None of the professors are, pure academics. They're all big hitters in their specific areas of expertise. And that even though it's not like the hugest alumni network on earth, the support that I've had has been just truly incredible. I mentioned to Professor Engelstad that I was moving to kind of an obscure area of Northern California, relatively speaking. And, just immediately he was like, oh, you need to talk to Bill Sheridan. Let me, put you two in contact. And Bill has been incredible plugging me into the local community and the scene here. I'm going to the North Valley Property Owners Association Gala tonight. Thank you, Bill. Big shout out.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
No, that's essential, to have that sort of support,
Yeah,
especially if you're going into a niche or either a niche market or a niche,
yeah,
product type within real estate. Having that level of support from alumni
yeah.
is key. Um, Help us understand the outcomes for masters in real estate students at the University of Denver, both in terms of geography. Where do
Hmm.
they end up? It sounds like you're going to Northern California,
Hmm.
but I would imagine many end up in Denver. But help us
Hmm.
understand geographically where people end up.
Yeah.
And then are there certain firm types or areas of real estate that have a greater concentration of graduates? So to kind of talk us through kind of career outcomes from the program.
Yeah, career outcomes. I mean, obviously, DU has a big presence in Denver, but you see people all over the country at top firms, JLL, CBRE, that kind of thing. And because the course the courses you can choose from and the roles you can kind of specialize for are so broad. People end up in asset management, development, private equity, syndication, acquisitions like brokerages, everything. Like there's really um, something for everybody. I think the school advertises that the average salary 6 months after graduation for a master's student is something like $90,000, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would say that most of the people in my classes have been people who are currently working in the field, anyways. I mean, I've had some classes where I thought I was going to be a hot shot, and people have just blown my socks off with how far ahead of me they are at certain activities.
That's an interesting comment. So, for someone who's considering applying,
Hmm.
what would you say is, the ideal candidate, both in terms of admission, but
Hmm.
also in terms of like getting the most out of the degree? Is it someone who's in industry looking to level up? Is it someone from outside of industry looking to break in?
Hmm.
Someone who has a few years of work experience? Can you go straight into it out of undergrad? Help us
Hmm.
understand like the profile of the person
Yeah,
that's gonna get the most out of this program.
yeah. I do think that somebody with a little bit of experience somewhere in the broad field of real estate is going to get the most out of it because they're going to have a solid foundation. The school does offer what they call a 4+1, which is where if you start taking some of the real estate courses towards the end of your undergraduate, you can actually go directly into the graduate school and graduate in 1 year, which is a pretty cool opportunity. Saves them some time, saves them some money. But really, I mean, if I had to make an informal guess, I would say probably 80% of the people in most of my classes are working professionals who are just trying to really level up their game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What is it like living in Denver?
Denver's great, and like I mentioned, I just moved to Northern California, but for people who are there physically, there's the mountains. It's centrally located, so it's 2-3 hours to anywhere in the U.S. from the airport. If you like beer, there's an incredible beer scene. I I like beer, but not as much as some people there really
Yeah.
like beer. There's something for everybody. You get 4 seasons, 300 days of sun a year. It's a pretty incredible place. I liked it a lot. And so obviously you're going to get the absolute most out of it if you're there. But if you're not, the school, sort of as a result of COVID, switched the entire graduate program to they call it high flex. So you can attend online or in person or whatever mix of both you want. That and it's totally up to you as a grad student. The undergrads still have to attend in person, but it makes it very flexible for people who aren't
That's interesting,
necessarily
and
in
I
Denver.
didn't realize that. So the program, if I'm in South Florida, I could complete
Absolutely.
the entire
Yeah.
master's program from wow,
I've
okay.
had people everywhere from Massachusetts to Florida. I think somebody was taking one of my courses from South America somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you find that most are in person, most are virtual, or what's the breakdown right now,
Well,
2022?
as of right now, it seems like people who can are generally going back to class, although it does depend on the course somewhat. Like uh, another course that you can take that really is pretty great is there's an Argus enterprise certification you can get you can do the training as a class. And that one, really works much better if you've got a big screen to work with. So the instructor for that encourages students, if you want to stay home, please do, because it'll be much
Yeah.
easier online. But most people are going back. I started school, sort of as COVID hit. So I've seen it transition from 100% online to most people who can going back to be in person.
That's interesting. Well, Uh, being in the greater Denver area myself, I can attest to the 300 days of sun.
Yeah.
I was expecting cold weather. I'd lived in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
upstate New York, two very cold places that get a lot
Right.
of snow, and we get a fair amount of snow along the Front Range here.
Yeah.
But there's so much sun that it makes it very pleasant to live, and so I could
Yeah.
imagine studying real estate in a place like this would be quite rewarding.
Yeah.
Well, James, really good insights. Let me finish with this question we always love to ask because we get some great answers. As you look back now to your time, you're approaching graduation. Um, you've been through an interesting time with COVID and the like, but interacting with alumni. Is there an experience, something in particular that you look back and say, well, that had a outsized impact on where my career is going.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, getting hooked up with the alumni network and getting introduced to Bill Sheridan out here in Northern California really just changed my whole world. I kind of thought, okay, I need to start looking for, remote real estate jobs. Nothing's going on where I'm going, and boy, was I wrong. Like, and I didn't even have to dig around. Like I said, I mentioned it offhandedly to one of my professors that I was moving, and he immediately put me in contact with somebody who's kind of a big player in this area, and it's gone from there. I passed my real estate license test yesterday.
That's great.
And real quick before I forget, I just want to mention for any veterans out there, the school is 100% yellow ribbon match, so it's basically full ride if you've got a GI Bill.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so veterans, DU, Burn School.
Great way to conclude. Well, thanks, James. Appreciate your sharing your insights about University of Denver, and I'll turn it back over to Sam to wrap us up.
Excellent.
Yes, thank you, James. Thank you, Spencer, for that awesome information. And to the viewers and readers, thank you as well. Thanks for watching this deep dive today, and the best of luck to you and to your adventure in commercial real estate.